Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to Adam McKola TV. I am Adam. We are live. Unless you're watching this after we've been live, then I'm not live. But welcome to the show anyway. This is the Manchester City vs Manchester United preview. The derby is coming, like Andy Tate once said. And I pray we don't get beat 6-1. Oh, what a quote that was. Absolutely legendary. But this game is on the horizon, and after Manchester United beat Tottenham midweek quite comfortably as well, when you look at the way the game went, I know the score doesn't suggest that it was comfortable, and towards the end of the game there was a few hairy moments, but overall it was pretty comfortable for Manchester United. And you looked at that win and you thought, that's what Ole's trying to do, that is pretty good. The problem for United, the problem for Ole, the problem for us has been that we have been massively inconsistent. But one thing is, in these bigger games, we have performed better. When you look at the teams that we've got good results against this season, it's the likes of Chelsea twice, Leicester, Spurs. We didn't lose against Liverpool. You know, we didn't lose against Arsenal, who, you know, they're what they are right now. We should probably be beating them. But nevertheless, when you look at that, we didn't lose against those teams. And it's been the teams that are lesser or smaller sides that we should be beating that we have struggled against. Now that points to obviously personnel issues, but also tactical issues and how we see out a game. Have we got the right player for the way we're trying to play in those games? Should we be trying to change things up? You've got to look at that. But in these games, in the games where the opposition enjoy possession, either 50-50 or just a little bit over or whatever, United being able to soak up pressure, hit people on the counter-attack, using the likes of Daniel James, Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial, Mason Greenwood, Jesse Lingard, whoever it is that plays on the counter-attack, we look a lot stronger. And that's why we've been better against Chelsea, Leicester, Liverpool, Spurs, because those teams like to have the ball. When they have the ball, we're happy to let them do that. Try and break up the play. McTominay and Fred were excellent at that midweek. Break up the play, get the ball, release the likes of Danny James, release the likes of Jesse Lingard, Marcus Rashford. And we're causing teams all sorts of problems, and we can do that. When we sit back and we try and soak up, when teams sit back and they try and soak up pressure and they try and, you know, do what we want to do to teams, we find it more difficult. Now you're looking at our number 10s, Jesse Lingard, Juan Mata, Andreas Pereira. They've not been delivering in terms of assists and goals, have they? And that is a problem. That's when you need your number 10 to be pulling the strings and making things happen. The movement of Danny James, Rashford and Martial in some games has been frustrating, but in some games it has been good, and that frustration for them has come from them not being found. Martial being a big example of that. Now that's not good. You should keep running no matter what. You should keep running no matter what. But there's times when he makes runs, doesn't get found because the pass isn't good enough, or we're expecting our deep lying central midfielders to make those passes when we need someone in that number 10 position who can do that, who can deliver more consistently. And that's why we miss Paul Pogba so much. Now there is injury updates from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in relation to Paul Pogba and Anthony Martial. Now Paul Pogba is not available for the derby, should be back before Christmas and the end of the year. He's just started, you know, playing football again on grass, so it's going to take a while for him to come back, and to chuck him back into these games where it's fast-paced, high energy, high tempo, you're risking the chance of him getting injured again. And we need him fit for the rest of the season, not just the next game. As for Anthony Martial could be back in the match day squad. Ole did say it's unlikely that he's going to start, so probably not expecting Anthony Martial to start in this game, and I will give you my predicted 11 a little bit later on today. But Anthony Martial could be back on the bench at the very least. Kay Brennan says we struggle versus the low block, and opposition are up for it because they're playing United. United don't bring the same intensity against the weaker teams, and it's true. At times in games, I remember saying it to Dean during one game, I can't remember which game, but we're passing the ball, we're passing, and there's no trigger, there's no, you know, something that makes everything speed up. because you can have the ball all day, moving it slowly in front of some of these teams. You look at Sheffield United. You even look at Brighton against Arsenal. Now I know Arsenal aren't the team that they were, but Brighton passed them to death. And teams will be happy to let you have possession, or and sit in play, because they know their shape. All these teams are well drilled. They know how to keep their line, hold their positions, hold two banks, whatever. You need a trigger. You need something to change the pace of it. Whether it's a quick 1-2, a player turning and injecting some pace into the game. We need it. At the moment, what we have is Marcus Rashford, who can do that, to be fair to him. And he loves it when he's got someone like Jesse Lingard or Anthony Martial pulling in close to him, because then he can pop it to them and pop off, and it's a quick 1-2 and he's gone. Or he can inject the pace into it by beating someone, like we saw when he won the penalty. But what we see from them is they're runners. They're looking for the pass. They're not looking to come in and really join in with the play. Rashford can, I know that I'm going to keep saying Rashford can, but ultimately they're looking to make that running behind. Martial is in between the lines, is looking for the ball into feet. We haven't really got someone that's triggering that fast pace, final third movement, creating an overlap, doing something. And that's why it's important that we get a quality number 10 in there. Now, I do think Jesse Lingard was a lot better against Spurs than he has been this season. And he can be a useful player in that position. But in terms of bringing the assists, bringing the goals, we need another player in there. Can Angel Gomez be that player in the future? Who knows? Juan Mata's not going to be here for the foreseeable future after beyond 2 years. Jesse Lingard, he's always going to be a valuable member to the squad, but we need someone in that position that's gonna really give us a little bit extra in there. Paul Pogba would be that guy, but obviously he's injured at the moment. I can't wait till we get him back. I cannot wait. Kay Brennan again pointing out that Pogba giving the final ball could help. Southern says, would you start Greenwood against City? Yes, I would. If Anthony Martial is not available to start, which is what Jose's pretty much, Ollie's pretty much said, then I would go with Mason Greenwood in that position. I've got a feeling we're going to go 3-4-1-2. Now, I had this feeling against Spurs, and it seemed to have leaked beforehand, and that maybe pushed Ollie into changing back to the 4-2-3-1. But I think we'll go with a 3-4-1-2 here. I really can see that happening. Obviously that would mean Daniel James probably misses out, and Daniel James doesn't deserve to be, I'm not saying he's dropped, but I just think we might go to the 3-4-1-2, allow us to have that midfield protection of a back three. I can see Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka being the fullback, the wing backs even. Someone mentioned earlier, would you start Brandon Williams? I think we're going to see now, this is probably a period where we pull him out a little bit. We put him in, we've given him some starts, he's done well, he's got a goal, he's got an assist for a penalty. He's done those things, he's had a little bit of a dip in form. Now you pull him out a little bit. You've seen Ollie with Mason Greenwood, he hasn't constantly started him. Now he's probably going to have to start him here against City. And, it's the reasonable thing to do, because no Anthony Martial means we do need another player in that position. Now, I have got my predicted 11 here. The predicted 11 I've gone for is David De Gea, Lindelof, Maguire and Axel Tuanzebe, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, McTominay, Fred and Luke Shaw, Lingard, Greenwood and Rashford. Luke Shaw could also be Ashley Young. Now, Ashley Young had a decent game against Spurs. I think his distribution of the ball wasn't great, but his defensive work and all that was alright. And it could be Ashley Young that starts there. It could be Brandon Williams. But I've got a feeling we might see Luke Shaw return to the side. So I've gone with Luke Shaw there, but I wouldn't be surprised to see any of the other players that I mentioned in that position. Lingard in behind Greenwood and Rashford. Now, we've seen that City have a difficult time in defence, and I think getting two strikers up against City's defence would be pretty good. And obviously Lingard in between the lines trying to create havoc in there and win the ball. We've seen City like to play it out. Can Lingard, get that press in there, initiate that press, get that get that ball back and release Greenwood and Rashford with McTominay and Fred in behind them. I think that could be a possible way for success for Manchester United in this game. The more I say it, the more I think Ashley Young's going to start at left wing back. He's probably more suited to that position than Luke Shaw anyway. Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right wing back, Lindelof, Maguire and Axel Tuanzebe. And there was a great story about Axel Tuanzebe in one of the papers recently. Now, I don't know how true it is, so, you know, it's speculation, but it's a story out there that he is one of those players in the dressing room that is currently, even though he hasn't played an awful lot of games for United, he has been at the club for a long time. He has just come back from Aston Villa, where I'm sure he feels a lot more experienced, he feels a lot more confident in himself, and he's believed to be one of those voices in the dressing room that has been holding people to account for performances and you know, being openly, you know, discussing and vocal with these things. And I think that's great to hear. We need people like that. I think Maguire's one of those people in the dressing room. I think McTominay will be. And I think we need more of those kind of players in the team. David De Gea will be as well. So, you know, we need more of these kind of characters coming through. And I think it'd be a great game to bring Axel Tuanzebe into. We saw when we played against Liverpool, we went with the back three as well and got a good result in comparison to the rest of the season that we've had against Liverpool. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this happen today. I've seen that clip of Young telling James Garner and that to tell the ball boys to take their time, and I thought it was sensible, especially at that time. I think the time on the clock was 75 minutes. Ashley Young did all right. I don't think Ollie would leave James on the bench, says Southern. DJ Sonic with an alternative view says he thinks Young's distribution was the best out of all of our defence. When Pogba is back, we should play him in 10, says Torfik, and we have to challenge for top 4. I think top 4's gone, to be honest, because I don't think we'll gain that consistency this season. I think when you look at the team and you look at the players, you know, it's going to be an inconsistent season. We're going to have ups and downs. That's how I think it's going to go. Daniel James played very well against City last year when he was a Swansea player. I would put him on the left wing, says Kyrgyzstan. Amar V8 says justice for Young. Get hitting that like button, get subscribing to Adam McKola TV, and get your comments in as well. That is my predicted 11. As I said, with the team news coming from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is that Anthony Martial should be fit enough for the squad, but he's not going to be fit enough to start the game. So he should hopefully be in the squad and available maybe for that Alkmaar game or the following game after that, which I think is Everton, if I've remembered correctly. He also said Paul is probably not available, no. We expect him back as soon as possible, as quickly as possible. He's out on the grass training. I said he'll be back in 2019. So hopefully we'll see him before the new year, definitely. So hopefully and definitely in one sentence. It's a bit of a weird one. The boss didn't provide an update on Nemanja Matic's position in terms of his fitness, but Scott McTominay did complete the full 90 minutes against Spurs after spending 3.5 weeks on the sidelines. Meanwhile, long-term absentees Eric Bailly, Tim Fosu-Mensah and Diogo Dalot are putting in the hard work at Aon Training Complex as they fight to be fit. That is the team news from the official Manchester United website. Dig Vijay says, according to you, who should we sign, Eriksen or Maddison? I would say James Maddison over Eriksen. I think Eriksen's someone that is at the back end of their career, and I'd go with James Maddison. Jack Grealish, one of those kind of players I want to see Man United signing, but James Maddison's a definite player that I'd love to see us sign. Would you like to see, Ansha says he would like to see Brandon Williams starting in this game. Why Gomez isn't playing for our reserve team, I'm not too sure, mate. He obviously was away with the Europa League team last week in Kazakhstan. So, you know, he's been involved with the first team as well. Do you think Pogba's injury is a smokescreen and he'll be there for Man City, says Dench? I'm not sure. Look, he's been out for a long time, so it's too long for it to be a smokescreen. But I do think he'll be back soon, just not for this game. Carl says a bit early in the season, but what would you say will be a successful season as of now? Seeing improvement in the team, seeing improvement in our players, in our tactics, in the way we want to play, getting that consistency. Maybe towards the back end of the season, you'd hope to see us being a little bit more consistent and us seeing what the way Ollie wants to see us play more. You have to see more regularities in terms of that. In terms of like, I'm sure you're asking about trophies and positions and things like that. If, as expected, we miss out on the Champions League spots and we don't get Europa League, I'd be happy for us to finish 7th or 8th and miss out on the Europa League. I actually think a season just in the domestic campaign next season, after you get a few more signings, would be better. It's if you're not in the Champions League. I just think the Europa League sometimes, isn't great. If we can win the Europa League or win one of those cups, I think it'd be fantastic for the team. But obviously it's difficult. There's a lot of big teams still left in the League Cup. I know we've got Colchester next round, but if we get through, then we've got some tricky teams coming in there. The FA Cup can be anybody's, and the Europa League obviously will come up against stiffer opposition as we progress. Paul says that Pogba leaving rumours true? ? I expect Pogba will leave at the end of the season in the summer. I don't think Pogba's at the age where he can sit around and wait 2-3 years for United to be in a position to winning trophies. I think he came here expecting us to challenge. He was probably sold a dream. I think we're expecting more from him as well, but I think he's probably thinking he should be playing for a better team in terms of not the club, but the team itself, a team that's challenging for trophies at this stage in his career. And if that's not going to be Manchester United, then I can see him leaving, unfortunately. But I wouldn't disagree with him in that, to be honest with you. We all hope people stay, but probably not. Leicester flourishing with no Europa League this year, says Kate. Brennan, what should we do to bring more consistency, says Southern. I think it's just something that comes with younger players playing more football, getting used to themselves, developing physically, mentally. I think you'll see with Marcus Rashford, something seems to be clicking with him right now, and he's getting there. We need that, to come with the likes of McTominay, who's been fantastic this season, but to get there with the consistency. Fred to get better, although he's not young. I'm not saying he's one of those players. But if you look at the team, Maguire's just arrived. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof's not really settled into the team at United yet. Twanzebe's coming through. There's a lot of positions where there's either question marks or players that haven't been playing for the club for an awfully long time, or for the first team for an awfully long time. And you have to allow that to flourish and improve and get better. So yeah, what's your predictions for this game, guys? It was 2-0 last time we played City at Old Trafford. Obviously, in recent times we've beat them 3-2 to prevent them from winning the title. Coming back from 2-0 down, probably Pogba's finest performance in a United shirt. But last season we lost there. So what's your prediction for this game? I'm going for a 1-1 draw. I think City, they obviously returned to form against Burnley, and Gabriel Jesus, Raheem Sterling, they all look in form. And even if City haven't been in form, of last season, they're still a very, very strong team. They're still sitting third in the league. They're still winning games. So we need to, obviously, they're a massive threat to Manchester United. And besides Gabriel Jesus, besides Raheem Sterling, you've got the likes of Kevin De Bruyne in there. You've got the likes of David Silva that can play, Bernardo Silva. So they've got a very, very strong team. They've got depth there, even if at the back they are a little bit weak. So I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. We're going to give Liverpool a 2-point gap further as they head closer to the league title. But I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Southam says, has Wan-Bissaka's performance dropped in the last few games? I thought he was pretty good against Spurs, to be honest, but I can see what you're saying. City's defence is dodgy as fuck, says Paul, and I totally agree with you. Southern's going for 3-2 United. Danny thinks it's going to be 5-3 to City, so an absolute goal fest. I think it's going to be either another 2-1 or a surprise 3-0 with a Rashford brace, says Matt Wicks. 3-2 to United, says Kyrgyzstan. Yo, everyone's feeling confident now, and what a difference a game makes. United beat Spurs, and all of a sudden we're going to be possibly the best or the second best team in the league. Incredible stuff. The champions, we're going to beat them now at their own patch. Alright then, alright. I'm going for 1-1 though, which wouldn't be a bad result. But given that, when you look at the form that we've had in the league, we haven't actually lost many games recently in the league. It's just that It's that frustration of dropping points against Sheffield United and Aston Villa from winning positions. Anshesh Tofik are saying 2-1 to United. It'll be an end-to-end game, says David Jones, who's expecting a quite open game. Guys, that's pretty much it for what I wanted to speak about in the preview about the game coming up against Manchester City. So if you've got any more questions, I can answer them for you before I head out. So get your questions in before we go. Like I said, predicting 1-1. Obvious threats from them. Gabriel Jesus, who's in for Sergio Aguero, who's out at the minute. Raheem Sterling, Kevin De Bruyne in there. Fernandinho might be playing in defence for them, which is interesting. But yeah, they've obviously got those threats there. Anthony Martial should be back in the matchday squad, but probably not fit enough to start. I'm expecting Ole to go with a 3-4-1-2 formation. Amar says, I'm more confident we'll beat City than Burnley, and that's with City beating Burnley 4-1 this week, which shows you where Manchester United are at the minute. We turn up for the big teams. 2-1 United, says Southern. So it says Red 92. Southern says, if Rashford can improve, why Martial can't? I think Martial has actually showed signs of improvement in his movement, and that this season he hasn't been great in the last game that he played, but I think he has been pretty good this season, and he's been injured for most of it. So yeah, bet quite a sum of money on United winning, says Anshesh. Jose Mourinho, the reborn one's back. He's back again, guys. We better win. Anshesh wants his bet to come through. I think your bet isn't going to come through. It's going to be 1-1. So if my prediction's right, you probably want to cash out right now. But I hope United win. I hope you're right, and I hope your bet comes through. Guys, thank you for tuning in to Adam McKola TV. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you about this game. Remember, I'll be live after the match finishes. I might have a little video coming as well with Cheeky Sport Dave and stuff. I'm not at the match. We have got fan cams coming from the match on Full Time Devils, and I will be making a review and other content for Full Time Devils on the night at the event that I'm at, watching the game and watching the AJ Ruiz fight. I've heard there might be a few stars around as well, so we'll find out what they're saying about the game. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you're keeping it locked to Adam McKola TV, liking, commenting, sharing and subscribing. I'll see you guys very, very soon. For now, I'm out of here.